Hello everyone, this is RaySpace in Kerbal Space Program 1.12 with RSS-Interstellar. RSS-Interstellar is real solar system, real exoplanets, and KSP-Interstellar so that we can make futuristic ships. And this is one of those ships. Previously in this series, I had introduced the Radiant Drive, which is the most efficient non-warp drive that we have available in KSP-Interstellar. It has 20 million seconds of ISP in theory. So its exhaust velocity, that means, is going 66% of the speed of light. After that, there's not much room left. So you're basically colliding antimatter with matter and getting pure photons going out the back. So, or something like that. So that's what we've got with the Radiant Drive. And with it being so efficient, it's probably the best way to get to another star system without a warp drive, and so I'm continuing the idea of trying to get to other star systems without any warp drive. We're going to try for Proxima Centauri again. The last time I tried this, though, it didn't provide us too much benefit over other drives, but that was because we were keeping to a 3,000-ton mass. And it was not fair to the other drives. Not fair to this drive. The other drives I had allowed a larger mass for. So I'm going to try it with more mass. The problem is it doesn't seem to be reflecting the delta V here. So, and it's also hopefully not telling me the correct burn time. We have 103.6 kilonewtons though, so that's not much. The reason I've made it so small, you can see it's tiny little engine, is because I don't want to put too many of the radiators, right? Because the larger we make the engine, the more cooling you'll need. In theory, it says that the thermal source is 15 million Kelvin. I mean, well, that's your typical fusion kind of thing, or colliding antimatter with matter kind of thing. But then the radiator can get us to 3,500, which is in blue, actually, amazingly enough. If we take this off, it's still in blue. I don't know how that manages to happen. But more to the point, I guess we have some other radiator on here. Oh, we've got those up front there. But these are graphene, so they're pretty close to magic. And the important thing is that the radiator maximum dissipation is more than the waste heat production. So we've got that going for us. So the question is, how much delta V do we have right now, and should I have 4 booster pods instead of 2 right now? I mean, we might as well have 4. We could start off with that, but I have no idea how much delta V we have, because you see, when I take that off, it says the same delta V. Now, that could be many things going on. It could be that we simply can't cross-feed the anti-hydrogen in. Maybe I have enabled cross-feed on this decoupler, but do I need explicit fuel lines? Will fuel lines even work? I think I put fuel lines already, to be honest. That has not changed anything. So, yeah. We've got this going on. These have a higher priority, so they will drain first. So the way this works is that we have the anti-hydrogen, and we also have hydrogen, and then we collide the anti-hydrogen with the hydrogen to make a lot of energy. The E equals mc squared kind of energy. So that is the plan. We've got a few different attempts at cross-feeding, but I don't know if they're going to work because it's not showing me the delta V. So let's take it outside and find out. Well, now it says 35 years. That's still too long. Let me bring it up to orbit before it explodes. Oh no, it exploded. I didn't even hear an explosion, it was so fast. Now, those anti-hydrogen tanks seem to be able to produce anti-hydrogen. Okay, set orbit. Okay. They're still really hot. I think they're not going to explode. But 35 years is not good. We're definitely trying to get there quicker than that. And 41,000 is also not good. So what's going on here? I think I'm going to need a more powerful one to really be able to see where it's drawing stuff from. It's not a very good-looking ship, but we'll deal with that later. Animate retract. Oh, it can close like that. Don't know what that's for, but... It seems to be drawing from these tanks. Well, we're going to need a bigger one, and probably more radiators. Maybe start with them out. Just to give me some more time. It seems to be drawing from the outboard tanks. But then it doesn't show me all my delta V, so I don't know why. Well, here, if I add a stage here, it says 16,000, which is... Oh, sorry, 16 million, which is worse. Why are you like this? Maybe 16 million is just the outboard ones, and then 40 is the inboard. And that would be about right. It's all about how much of the speed of light can we go at in order to get to Proxima Centauri. If we do have 56 million meters per second, then we can get pretty close. I mean, we really want 60. And then we could get a tenth of the speed of light. So we go 30 million meters per second, and then we have to slow down by 30 million meters per second. Actually, this always says 103.6 kilonewtons, regardless of the size, it would seem. Yep. So it's not gonna give me a good reflection. That's not telling me the right burn time. This is not telling me the right thrust. 10 years. I mean, I think that's gonna end up being about 10 years. So, that's okay. 10 years to get up to speed, I mean. Well, 10 years of total burn time, and then 5 years to get up to speed. But now we are actually in yellow on our radiators, so let's fix that. Let me prop it up a little bit more. I'm gonna have these actually do automated and extend. The reason I don't have the boosters on the top is because we have the radiators on the top anyway. But we could probably put them in an X format. It's still yellow. I always wonder about how it's calculating these, since one was good enough before. Okay, well, let me try and scale this down a bit then, so that we're not in yellow. I'll take that. Alright, let's see. Maybe I should just set a higher orbit to begin with. Let's do that. Well, 10 years like I wanted anyway. 340 kilonewtons. Still pretty weak. Still turning very slowly here. I don't have any other way of turning. I have a reaction wheel, but it's a realism overhaul reaction wheel, so it's weak. So the engine has to help us turn, which it is. Let me have SAS do it. SAS is usually better at this sort of thing. See, it just firmly turns it instead of trying to... You'd have to tweak the numbers in the attitude adjustments section in order to get it to stop flicking all over the place. Well, let's just see how we can get there. How about that? Let's just do it, and we'll reassess when we lose the booster fuel. So, setting Proxima as a target. I'm just gonna have it point to the target. Here it says stage time full throttle 0 seconds though. So it's not really keeping track of it down there. Let me see if I add this. It says 16 million instead of 40. So that's not my favorite thing. But I still think that that's just the outer pods. Oh, it is consuming from this? Well, we lost one unit from here. But its flow priority is lower. Oh, now they're cooled off. Oh, Proxima is right there, and we're turning to point at it. We don't have peoples on board right now. We are carrying all the food, water, and oxygen for them. Well, let's just see how fast it can go for this try. It's so weak, it's actually technically deorbiting around Earth right now. Well, it's consuming Delta V. Oh, but it's not working. Okay. Alright, let me try and get a different version of Pekka's plugin in and see if that helps. Alright, let's see if we can get some traction here. There seemed to have been a bit of a problem with Pekka's plugin and Waterfall. Pekka tried to make it compatible with Waterfall, but I think it caused some other problems along the way, so... So there is a non-waterfall version of the plugin. And hopefully Pekka will post that to the GitHub as well. I really ought to play Elite Dangerous at some point. I got the Odyssey update for it. I haven't played it at all since getting that. I wish there was more depth to the exploration experience, like it had a little bit more No Man's Sky to it. Not all that stuff, but just a little bit of variation would be great. Alright, let's see if it can handle going towards the target in time warp. Even though we're lowering our apoapsis right now. Okay, well it's holding it. Can I actually flip my orbit before I crash into Earth? This is a good question. I don't actually know. So here's what's happening. Oh, okay. I think it's okay. It's a bit weird, but I think we sort of slingshotted and then we're on escape. All right. Oh, we had a moon flyby there, potential moon flyby, but we've lost that, so it's okay. Or we did have a moon flyby, actually. It's all very complicated. The important thing is we didn't hit anything. It's important. Now, is it really 16 million in 10 years? I might have to find a way to scale up the engine if that's the case. So we don't get a plume during time warp. That's what Pekka was trying to fix, but it seemed to have caused other problems. Are we only using stuff from out here? Seems that way. But this tank is being used up really quickly. Maybe I don't have enough hydrogen? It was supposed to be 1-to-1. But it seems like it's a different ratio right now. Nope, we came out of time warp because of that. It seems like we're using more liquid hydrogen than I expected. Yeah, it's a different ratio. I thought it was 1-to-1. But we might need more liquid hydrogen. I think we need 100 times more liquid hydrogen than the anti-hydrogen. And that's why we have a problem. But then at this rate, it's like a factor of 3. See that? Now more like 4. Now it's closer to even. So I just need to get up to a higher time warp and then it evens out. But it's not affecting that delta V down there. Well, no, now it's changing. Liquid hydrogen. I don't know why it's doing that. I do not know what the math is, and neither does it most of the time. Why is the liquid hydrogen consumption fluctuating at all? Don't know. Anyway, 150,000 meters per second. I guess the best way to figure it out is just to keep going and test it like this. It is darker out here. We've passed 1 year and we're at basically 1.5 million meters per second. Now, that has not gone down by 1.5 million. So, we'll just keep going and see what happens. It's hard to figure it out in time, but our stage time hasn't changed. It's ticking down much slower than the actual days are going by. So we probably have more than 5 years of burn time before we have to slow down or reserve the part for slowing down. Well, that's 5 million meters per second in 3.5 years. Well, I don't know what actual relevance the numbers have, but I guess I'll wait until that stage delta V is at 8 million, which was half of what we had to begin with, or maybe 9 million just to shade it a little bit, but clearly we're getting more millions of meters per second than expected. But it's sure taking a while, so I need a bigger engine. And right now the radiators seem to be doing plenty. I wonder what the thrust weight ratio is. It's still 0.00, so you can't generate gravity like this. We'll still need a spinny part. We have reached 10 million meters per second in nearly 7 years. This is gonna be important for the slowing down part too. Okay, past 15 million in 10 years. Now I don't even know if we need those outer pods at all. I think I've overdone it because the delta V reading in the VAB was, or SPH was not accurate. We clearly had way more than what it was saying we had. But now it's a matter of sizing the engine because we need to be able to accelerate faster. If we go really fast, we're gonna reach a point where we just need to slow down even though we haven't used all the fuel. I feel it's important that if we're going to go to another star system, that there's a chance that the people who depart might actually reach and be able to see the other star system. So if they start out in their 20s, they might get there in their 80s or 90s or whatever, but there ought to be a chance, maybe even in their hundreds, but there ought to be a chance that they see the new star system. That would be ideal. Of course, colony ships are colony ships. But as long as there's that chance, it sort of has a better sense of keeping things together. But that requires engines like this. That, well, really, you don't have any choice except for matter, antimatter stuff. Otherwise, you are not going to have the people departing be able to see the new star system. Not without warp drives. So we start here, we're there, about a quarter of a way, maybe a fifth. Okay, we are past 1/10 of the speed of light here, but it took 20 years. Well, I'm just looking at where we're at. We could probably go to about 2/3 before slowing down because being somewhat lighter, we would be able to slow down sooner. But then again, we're not that much lighter. We haven't used that much of the liquid hydrogen and liquid anti-hydrogen, so maybe we should start slowing down halfway. If we had used more of that stuff, then I would wait a little bit longer. But we're there. We're getting close to halfway, but not there yet. And we are approaching 40 million meters per second. We're at 13% of the speed of light. In this case, we will be burning through the entire time. I sure hope I can figure out how to slow down well. But yeah, sizing the engine a little bit larger might be prudent. I'm going to go for 15% of the speed of light, or 45 million meters per second, and then start slowing down. And that should be about 30 years in. So we're looking at a 60-year trip. Now I'm just eyeballing this. Technically, I think we're further than halfway on the distance to target. Okay, time to turn around. So, do I do retrograde or anti-target? They both should be pretty close, but I'll do retrograde. Radiators are still red. Now the waste heat is accumulating. During time warp it doesn't, I think. But it'll accumulate to a limit. It's not going to be a problem. But if we increase the size of the engine, we're going to need to increase the size of the radiators. On the other hand, I don't think we really need these external tanks right now. Maybe if we made the engine a lot bigger. But I don't think we're going to use up even the equivalent of what's in the core right now. So, for further flung star systems, this might be better, but for Proxima, certainly not with this size engine. The navball can't decide what we're hovering over, so that's why it keeps changing. Everything to do with what MechJeb was saying about this was wrong. Okay, we have turned around. Slowing down now. Can you imagine it's just 300 kilonewtons? We're being awful careful about the antimatter-matter collisions in order to get 300 kilonewtons. How much actual matter are you throwing in there? Matter and antimatter are you throwing in there to get a 300 kilonewton bang? Okay, well at 40 years we have slowed down below 10% of the speed of light. Well, now we're getting substantially closer to it. We're about 5 to 6% the total distance. And we're still at 20 million meters per second, so did it take too long to slow down or not? Year 46. Now at 1 petameter. Year 48. I think I waited too long. We may have to burn towards it for a bit. Afterwards. Yeah, I think I've overshot. 15% of the speed of light was too much. But this time we have a lot of fuel, so we can still try to make it. Unless we smack into it, of course. Going right by Proxima Centauri. Oop. Are we in the SOI? I think we're entering the SOI. This could get complicated. It could also crash the game. We'll see. Well, the game sort of froze when I entered Proxima Centauri SOI. And so I'm back here again. But we know that I'm going to pass by it and overshoot, and that this could do with some tweaks. We need to pack a little bit more power, probably less anti-hydrogen and hydrogen, and more radiators. So rather than go through this again, I'm gonna take what I've got here, the information that I've gotten, and make the adjustments, and we'll try again next time with Kerbals. Another thing that can change stuff is the consumption of supplies, after all. So yeah, well, gonna have to figure out how to manage this sort of thing, but it's promising. We could certainly get to Proxima Centauri within 50 years. So that's pretty good. Now we just need to do that and then bring stuff to start building bases. I mean, yeah. Have people done bases on other star systems in Kerbal Space Program? Do let me know. I haven't kept track of that. But it would be interesting to carry more stuff with this. We would have to make it larger, but that's sort of not a barrier here. We can still launch it all with the monument launcher as long as the tanks, these diamagnetic antimatter containers, don't explode. They say that the maximum G-force is 1. So it could be a problem trying to get that anywhere. But if I close it up, oh, where is the animate retract? Does that change the G-force? No. That has nothing to do with changing the G-force, apparently. So, there is that problem. On the other hand, there's also the thing where we can produce anti-hydrogen and deconstruct hydrogen. That seems a little bit cheaty. Right? I'm not too sure. Maybe... And this is fairly light for antimatter storage. As far as antimatter storage is concerned, this is also cheaty in that respect. But I don't know. There's a lot going on here. But at least I can try to make an optimal ship based on what I know now. To be sure, the numbers in the VAB or SPH were not telling me the truth, but now I have some numbers to work with, and I will make adjustments. So we'll get a better Radiant ship and put Kerbals on and get them over to Proxima Centauri more efficiently. But whether this is all going to be launchable and, you know, constructible, and then we put some functional payload on it to get it over here and actually do stuff in Proxima Centauri, that's a whole other matter. So anyway, with that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.